Welcome to the Busted Knees and Pretty Trees podcast. If you can hear my voice right now, yes, I'm talking to you, the explorer. Kevin, we appreciate you. I am Travis White. There laughing is Bradley Greer. And there's our tender-loving Patty Richardson.
Yo.
Welcome,
hello.
gents.
Hello.
Listeners.
I felt like you were about to call Patty something else.
Yeah, like awesome person, beautiful heart.
Tender lovin's pretty good.
Tender lovin' is good. I'll take that. It reminds me of Elvis.
All right. Listeners, today's show is a special one for me. I've spent an entire year as the captive audience member for these two gentlemen who went absolutely bonkers for birding. Birds this, birds that. And when Lil Travie J, always eager to please, presents a dazzling marvel of Mother Earth's own creation that I found in some lady's landscaping earlier that day, I get bird bullied, pushed from the circle, and further ostracized.
Oh, man, jeez.
That's not
Travis, no one gives a shit about your Devonian period dirt clumps, dumbass. You gotta stop living in the distant past, man. Those worthless rocks would be a lot cooler if you shoved them up your ass, loser.
I've never said that, not once.
Yeah, okay.
Diamonds, right?
That's just a small helping of the abuse.
It's
Birds are not.
birds and dinosaurs. Birds and dinosaurs are a mess. Like, they get all the attention.
Yes. Anyway, I have Brad and Patty captured today. Joking aside, I know all three of us are excited for today's show. We have a geology professor. The bullies threw me a bone today. You know I'm ready to go. There's going to be a lot of chat about rocks, and I'm hoping I can get these two to take a little bird out of the brain and put some rocks in there. Our guest today is a professor of geology in the Department of Biological Sciences at Purdue University, Fort Wayne. He earned a PhD in geology from the University of Cincinnati. His field of research includes North American Paleozoic marine environments, the biology of shelled organisms like brachiopods, stratigraphy, petrology, paleoecology, and many other ologies that may need some explaining.
Woo!
His students find his teaching style to be laid back and engaging. Also cited as a key figure in Fort Wayne's geological and paleontological community.
Yeah.
Rumor has it, despite his extreme background in geology, he couldn't spot an artifact or fossil in the field if it was screaming his name. Dr. Benjamin Dattilo, everybody.
Yeah. Hello.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
I can tell you got some information from
Yes.
somebody named Chuck.
And I went with it knowing maybe the information he give me isn't quite correct.
Well, and he got that information partly from our Randy.
I don't
Guy
know
named Randy Blood, who works in petroleum and black shale, black mudstone from the Devonian, as a matter of fact, in New York and Pennsylvania. I think he lives in Philadelphia. No, not that one. Pittsburgh, the ugly one.
The ugly one.
Sorry, they start with P and they're in a P state. So, but I went. I was looking for brachiopods, and I wanted to get some from New York because the same age Devonian in Indiana, they were all silicified, meaning they were placed by silica and kind of messed up on the inside. And then the ones up in Toledo that are very nearby were all replaced by pyrite, fool's gold, and were also kind of messed up on the inside. I want some that hadn't been replaced by something new. So I said, yeah, there's one from southern Indiana that you got. That's called, there's another cussing thing.
Go ahead.
It used to be called Platystrophia ponderosa. It's from the Ordovician of Madison. That's what Travis held up. And Madison, Indiana,
Yep.
is the kind of the type area, and that's found in a range of places in Kentucky. And somebody working out of the north of Europe decided to restudy all of the genus of Platystrophia. And so for years and years, we've known this as Platystrophia ponderosa. And this guy says, well, it's not actually a Platystrophia, which was originally named, I think, in Russia. This is the card collecting part of classifying animals, right? It's sort of like somebody collecting stamps and going, no, it's not that. It's not really. No, you got it wrong. So they look at all these fossils in all these museums, and they decided that the original Platystrophia does not match the North American Platystrophia. So they have to come up with a new name. Damned Vikings. Not all of North America is Vinland. It's from Kentucky. They call it Vinlandistrophia.
Vinlandistrophia?
And you kind of like, so every time I have to say Vinlandistrophia ponderosa, because it's a valid name and the type species is the ponderosa species. There's several other species. I could get away with it otherwise. But they named it Vinlandistrophia ponderosa, the most coolest one, the big one that looks like a giant nut.
Yeah.
And so now I have to use that name when I publish. And so every time I say it, I spit. Finlandistrophia.
I'll curse for you. That's bullshit.
Yeah, this is bullshit. And the people that work down and are familiar with this brachiopod, couldn't you call it like Kentucky Strophia?
Yeah.
Something like it where it's from.
Right.
Finland's way the hell up there. I don't know where in Canada somewhere, right? It's just like, who cares? This is not Vinland.
Is there no rule book? What's going on?
The rule book is they followed the rules, so we're stuck with them, and it's sort of like it's yeah, I know. You follow the rules or you do some shit thing, right? I mean, and I'm kind of joking that they had to name it something, but they could have called us. They could have said, "Hey, any ideas of what you want to call this?" Instead, they use a Viking name.
Yeah, I don't like that so much.
I don't like it either.
It's from here. Let's name it something here.
From here, right? Like Travis has got. It could have been Bourbonstrophia. I would have been better without. I wouldn't spit.
Yeah. Oh, Bourbonstrophia. Now.
Yeah.
Bourbonstrophia.
From Kentucky.
Into this. Now I'm getting it. That makes sense.
And as a matter of fact, like if you were going to name it anything by where it occurs, it's pretty much everywhere along the Bourbon Tour.
Oh.
That makes
so okay, some of the more central things toward Lexington, no, but Bardstown, right in the middle of it.
How many signatures do you think it would take
to change
I don't
this?
think the way the rules are put together, the card collected, the die is cast. I don't know how to do it.
To make Finland look really bad. So like they did something really evil and they have to change the name.
I don't think it would matter if they were in the Epstein files.
Dang. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
No, these guys aren't in the Epstein files.
We have to agree by the rules, and so we abide by the rules. So all the best we can do is just spit every time.
Oh man, I don't want to say this.
So when we have a guest on, we kind of like to start with the ultimate question of why did you end up in this field, and was it just your curiosity of nature and the wild that brought you there, or is it good oil money?
I could never deal with the oil situation. I could never do it. I've always been oil adjacent because of what I do, but never were. Yeah, I might have gotten like one training gig with an oil company, right? That's about it. So Oh, I was 4. I was 4 years old.
Okay.
And
Impressive.
we lived in this little bitty tiny rock house that was next to a creek in southern Indiana in a town called, of all places, China.
Okay.
China,
China,
So
Indiana.
I can say
I've
I
never heard of
grew
that.
up, my first years, I grew up in China,
Yeah.
China, Indiana. And in China, the creek ran through these Ordovician rocks, which I don't know, 450 million years old. By the way, if you're a geologist, you don't typically think how old it is. You think what name age, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we say Ordovician, Silurian, Devonian. Well, that covers just about everything in this part of Indiana. You want to go to Western Indiana, you go up a notch, and that's Mississippian. And, every one of those is younger than the next one, than the previous one. Ordovician, oldest, Silurian, Devonian, and then Mississippian, and some Pennsylvania in Indiana. At any rate, I was in the Ordovician in the southeast, and I picked up a fossil, and I saw fossils. I remember my first fossil. It was a Raffiniskena.
Raffiniskena.
It's a brachiopod. And again, if do people know what brachiopods are? Oh, hell no. Nobody knows what a
We'll have to
brachiopod
put
really is.
pictures.
But we have specimens, right? That's a different one from the other one you showed me,
Yes.
right? Thank
Yes.
you. Good, because that's a spirifer. So that
Oh,
one,
that's a different one?
there's
Yeah,
the
there's a-
Vinlandistrophia.
There's so many kinds.
And he spit. That's great.
Hate that name. Anyway, and we didn't record that, did we?
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Oh.
we're recording.
We recorded Vinlandistrophia when we first
I think so,
discussed
yeah.
it. Oh,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Throw it in there somewhere because I think that's a good story. But so this species is really weird, as it turns out. As a kid, I knew it was just a seashell, right? And so I drew it, I looked at it, I had Mom draw it. I got a fossil book because I was just into it. Grandpa says that creek, the moisture must have warped my head. He thought, and Grandma thought things like,
The hell
you could
been doing
make
down there?
you could make a lot of money as a doctor, blah, 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 blah. But no, I was stuck on these rocks. And so, as it turns out, that
You shattered your father's dream.
my
at the age of 4.
my grandfather's hope.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. He lost hope in my father. He'd lost hope in my father, but then that was me. My turn to shatter his dream. And so, what's interesting about this species, this kind of brachiopod, this is one of the most common fossils on Earth. Go figure, a 4-year-old.
Right.
It's really restricted in its area to parts of North America. There are similar ones elsewhere, but Eastern North America, there's a lot of them. I calculated that under the Creation Museum in northern Kentucky, if you just took the parking lot, there would be enough to give 4 to every man, woman, and child on Earth.
No shit.
Wow.
If you dug down about 1,000 feet.
Wow.
Right.
Because every layer's got tons of them in it. So it wasn't no miracle that I found this thing. But because it was common, nobody really knew much about it. And they are 2 thin shells that nest one into another.
Oh, okay.
And so when they're closed, there's no room for anything to be in there. There's barely any room, right? So it's like a clam, sort of, except the left and right are in one shell, whereas in a clam, the left shell and the right shell are different shells. That's about it. They have a top and a bottom shell. And so there's no room for these, and there was all kinds of speculations about how they lived, and I found some specimens that were weird in that they looked like they'd moved around in the dirt, in the sediment at the seafloor. And I go, like, if they moved around, something's really weird because everybody's thinking they were just stuck.
Okay.
And they have a feeding apparatus that is not as efficient as a clam's, but they filter water. But they could never squirt you like a clam can, right? So you're digging for clams. They can squirt pretty high in some cases. But they didn't have a powerful feeding apparatus. So if they got dirt in there, there wasn't much they could do except maybe clap their valves together to clear. And so it was thought, like, how did they live? Usually in mud. You usually find them in mudstone. How did they live in this concavo-convex form where there's a concave side to the outside of the shell and a convex side to the outside of the shell? And there are all kinds of little puzzles about them. And so I just completed a paper that got shortlisted, like among 14 for the Best Paper of the Year award.
Let's go.
Over
Nice.
in London, right? On this same species that I looked at first when I was 4.
Oh my gosh.
So talk about obsessed.
That's pretty dedicated.
Right? I'm just
Yeah.
like terribly obsessed. And so my interest is focused on the Ordovician because, well, I just don't move very fast. And there's so much to do inside the Ordovician. And I was familiar with it. And I went to school out west in Utah. And Brigham Young University, you could tell at some point I was probably a Mormon.
And I was like, this guy's a Mormon.
The mezcal's good, though. I love the taste of mezcal. At any rate,
so do I.
It's smoky.
Yes, it is.
Good.
You know, I think it is interesting, especially like staying in one narrow division, but then also kind of bouncing around because a lot of people make it tunnel vision and they're one little focus area, location. But
so one of the
around.
things as geology students that we do is we have to participate. It used to be, at any rate, that there would be this big 5-week class in this one of your last summer or something. Was your kind of your capstone experience, and you'd go out and you'd make maps and do other field work in geology, right? And so during my field work, the professor who was running that class was actually officially making maps. And it was on the Colorado Plateau just north of the Grand Canyon. And so we're seeing these typical Grand Canyon layers that you'll find in the Grand Canyon. What's missing in the Grand Canyon is the Ordovician.
Oh, okay.
And the Silurian. There's no Ordovician, no Silurian. We're a little bit north of there. And I was so familiar with the Ordovician at that point that they assigned me a square mile. And I was lost. I didn't know what I was doing. All I care about is Ordovician fossils.
Right.
But I'm walking around trying to figure out how to map a square mile, do the geologic map of a square mile. And I run onto a hill and I look down and I see classic Ordovician fossils. And I go, the fuck?
Yeah.
There's not supposed to be Ordovician out here. I've never seen Ordovician. I think that's Ordovician here. So I load up my backpack with fossils and come back that night and say, I think I found Ordovician, and dump the stuff on his table. Now, this guy was known as Mr. Ordovician from further north, right?
Yeah.
So he was working in western Utah. We were just out not too far from Mesquite, Nevada. And he was working in west central Utah most of his life. And when he saw it, my A was guaranteed. I got an A.
It
now,
just
later,
blew him away?
Just blew him away because I had discovered Ordovician in this little area.
Well, hell yeah.
And he said, like, I was the only student who could have possibly done it.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Because like obsessions.
Him? Yeah.
Huh? I
to
had
be able
the
to
right
identify him?
Yeah, I was able to recognize it immediately.
Yeah.
I knew where I was. I was obsessed with it already. So, fortune favor, if you can call this fortune, right?
I
Favors
call
the
that.
prepared, right?
Hey,
If you're
nice.
not prepared to see something,
Mhm.
you don't know something exists, you're unlikely to see it.
Yep. I've definitely, right off the bat, once you find something you're looking for, a fossil or a specific mineral, it's
Then they're
so
everywhere.
much easier to find the next one.
They're everywhere.
You
And
sound like me trying to explain to my friend that takes me morel mushroom hunting. That's why I don't see them. I'm not prepared. I don't know what they look like.
If you're not prepared to see morels, you
You're not
won't
gonna
see them. If
and
you're
then
not
once you
prepared,
do see them, game's over. You see them everywhere.
then you take all of them.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So, so that's kind of, I don't know why. I just think it's a personality flaw that I'm obsessed with it. I can't tell you, I can't explain other than that's where it started. And I was reluctant to move away from it.
I got to
Right.
say that's amazing. I mean, 4 years old, you pick up this thing. I mean, I've picked up things that at 4 and later that I've been unbelievably interested in at that moment. But then seemingly devote your kind of career and
So it's
life's
failure
path.
to develop, right? It's some sort of failure in
I
development.
don't know because
So-
you just got on the short list of best paper for brachiopods and these Ornavision.
But normal people would never have given it a second look, right?
Yeah.
So it's just this big, flat, fan-shaped thing
Yeah.
named after Rafinesque, who's, he's a hoot, right? From the 1800s.
Was that another episode?
That might be another episode. Like I've written several papers about Rafinesque.
Oh, okay.
Several papers.
Rafinesque.
About one brachiopod, and somebody found a really weird association with this brachiopod where the dead shells are like big garbage can lids, and these smaller burrowing brachiopods tried to escape after a storm, and the dead shells had been laid over them, concave down. And so then the shells go up and hit those big shells. These little brachiopods crawl up out of the storm deposit trying to escape, and they're trapped. Because if you got almost no brain, just a few neurons, and you're like a Roomba,
Right.
right? You're thinking like a Roomba, you have some basic rules. Up, go up,
Yeah.
go up.
Yep.
And so if you're under a dome, going up gets you trapped in the middle of the dome. And this is what we found is a whole bunch of these shells just accumulated in the middle of the dome. And so we serially sliced it. We sliced through this rock that contained these shells that had these shells inside the domes. And they were individual shells. They were not alive anymore. They had just been washed up in the storm and paved the surface and then killed all the other things that would have
Dang.
normally been able to escape.
Wow.
And so there's this story, right, about what's called ecological engineering,
Yep.
which you've heard,
Yes.
where this shell is a kind of a negative ecological engineer in this case. And we named the paper after Rafinesque's curse to Transylvania University.
Is that
Right.
Yeah. Keep going. Sorry.
Rafinesque had taught at Transylvania.
Yo.
So Transylvania is a little school where Mary Todd Lincoln went to school in Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
So
All
at
right.
the time, it was actually on its way up, right? Well, Rafinesque was teaching there, and apparently he stooped the president's wife.
Oh, hey, baby. That's not going to get you anywhere.
And so then he got kicked out. Like he came back from a field season and his entire lab had been converted to dormitory.
That's what
Like
happens.
big F you. That's what happens. Like if you sleep with the president's wife. And so he got kicked out. And then like 3 years later, the very same president died at sea of some kind of sickness and the campus burned down.
Oh, my
Oh,
So
gosh.
conveniently, just after that, of course, Rafinesque takes credit and says that he had cursed it on his way out.
The curse
That
of
he'd stood on
Ravenous.
he'd stood on the hills above Lexington or something like this and stretched his hand out and said, "I curse you," whatever he said. He's full of crap.
Molotov cocktail.
Right? He's full of crap, but he's making it up after the fact, and it, impressive story.
Yeah.
Well, Transylvania University had a series of bad things, including Bram Stoker, happen to it. Right?
Yeah.
They became a laughing stock after Dracula was written.
Is this real?
Or whatever.
Wait. This school became a laugh. Oh, wait, what?
The school became a laughing stock because it was named Transylvania.
Okay. Dang.
Yeah, and they just had a series of bad years. And Rafinesque had already been buried, and so they said, this is because of his curse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they dug him up.
This gets deeper.
They found him, dug him up, and put him under the administration building. And as we know, there's a lot of dead people in administration buildings, and not so often under them. So
did they bury the body?
We visited his tomb under the administration building, but wait, there's more. He was in a serial grave. They dug up the wrong person.
Oh my gosh.
Because the record was that his skull had been cut for an autopsy. The cap had been cut off.
Right.
And the skull they buried was intact.
Oh my gosh.
So the body they buried under the administration building is actually some lady.
Oh my Lord. Let it be known that when I pass away, I want to curse something before I roll. I want to live a legacy of curse.
So we figured, okay, these shells are like the administration building they're like Rafinesque's tomb, where there's a series of them all buried underneath the shell.
Yeah.
Right? His original tomb. So we got a kick out of this. We wanted to put like little quotes from his life, but the journal editor decided that we couldn't do that. But we just sort of paralleled it and talked about all these different things and called it the Curse of Rafinesquina.
That's sweet. And
Right.
that's the paper.
Yeah.
And that's the
That's pretty
previous
cool.
paper. The more recent paper is better. So this one is just fun.
Hell
The
yeah.
more recent paper says this is how they lived and this is why, and it's kind of not what people expect.
So I'm
Right.
curious, Ben. What should I refer to you? A doctor? Because I feel like Ben.
You can
is just
call
a
me
little-
Ben. You can call me Dr. Dattilo. I was going by Dr. D, and then I realized that that's ambiguous and kind of innuendo
Dr. Big
of
D.
some sort. Yeah, and Dr. Big D would even
There
be
we go.
worse. And
All
so
right.
I'm not going to do that.
All right.
I'll
call
go
you
by
doctor. I just have to get used to that. But
No,
I
you can
am-
just call me Ben. It's
Ben,
fine.
okay.
It's just fine. I mean, like, the students here at this university call me Dr. Dattilo.
Okay.
At previous places I've been, they'll call me Ben. Grad students in other universities call me Ben.
Yeah.
But, there's different cultures in different universities. And the only time I really force somebody to call me doctor is if they're insisting that I call them doctor.
I see. Yes. Okay. You want it?
I
got it.
just like, it's not why I'm here, right? I'm not
Right.
here for the title.
Right.
So,
Well, let
At
me
any
ask
rate.
you a question. What I am interested about is because when I think geology, when I think paleontology, all the different once again ontologies, I think a lot of field work. But what we've talked about so far is more the papers, the scientific journals that you've written, and you have written
well,
approximately.
you find the fossils in the
Yeah.
field. Yeah,
Well,
find the
touche.
fossils in the
So
field.
are you somebody that would rather spend more time in the field doing like that, like going back and reliving the moment that you found, blew your professor's mind away and got the A? Or are you finding more
I don't
happiness
really
or
want
kind
to
of?
relive that. I was a young man.
Oh,
I didn't like being, I like being a young man if I had my strength and kind of like status of now.
Right.
But I wouldn't want to be a young man as a young man, right?
Yeah.
Respect.
I can
Yes,
understand
sir.
that.
You
yeah.
know, so like youth is wasted on the people who don't get any respect.
Agreed.
So,
But do you find, like, with all the papers that you are writing, and we were talking off air about you going into the emeritus status, where you'll be spending a lot more time doing.
Like I've got 4 years and 6 months.
Hey, I'll count it down for you.
Not
That's
that
awesome.
I'm counting. Not
I
that
will.
I'm counting.
I can't
So,
already counting mine down. But where do you? I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, where would you rather be spending your time? Out in the field, doing the field work, the grunt work, or getting those journals out there and educating in a way?
Paper writing is something that makes me fall asleep.
Yeah.
So the actual writing, the actual putting it together, I like drafting the figures because it's the only art I get in. But you know, because I like drawing and things like that, and so when I make the pictures for the paper and put the photographs together, that's kind of fun. But then I got to write, and then you get reviewers. Right now, I'm trying to finish a paper about crinoids, which are a totally different thing. You could call them starfish on a stick. I'm having a great deal of difficulty with that. The people who work on crinoids are a little pickier. There's more of them. And reviewer twos are bad. You've heard of reviewer two?
No.
Well, reviewer two must die is a group. So what they do is when you submit your paper, it has to be reviewed, right?
Right.
And there's usually 2 reviewers. And they will rank them. The good reviewer is always reviewer 1, the one that says nice thing. And then if somebody says nasty things, it's reviewer 2, or somebody has more details, right? So currently, it's the 3rd round paper. Submitted, reviewer 2 said this stinks, rejected.
Really?
Submitted, reviewer 2 says this stinks, different reviewer 2, rejected, right? This time we got it right. We think we got it right. I show this to students who whine about having a little red mark on their stuff, right? It's like, it's actually, and what I notice about people who are not in the sciences, who are kind of doing quack science, is they get all whiny about being criticized. Like, well, there's obvious why you're not in real science, because you wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's all kinds of criticisms in this business, and it gets old. So, to your question, I would rather be out in the field.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so I picked up this summer job, and I took off fall in order to do the summer job more intensely,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm out just driving around in a truck with a mapping partner that they pair me up with. She and I are just driving around in the truck. We see a rock. We say, a rock, and we stop. We go out and we look at the rock, and we pound on the rock, and we examine the rock, and we say, we might smile and say, I know what this rock is. And then we, and now really it's not a rock the way you'd think a chunk. It's a piece of rock of the earth, the bedrock sticking out, right? That's what we're really looking for.
Yeah.
Like a road cutout.
Like a road cut, like a stream bank that's been eroded, right? So when it erodes into the earth, you got this scar in the earth, you've gone through the soil, and you can see the actual rock. Doesn't happen often here. You got to go to quarries or this the Deep Wabash, right, which was scoured out a bit ago. And then we have, our surveying tools, a GPS unit, a little hockey puck that you put on this big stick, and we mark where it is, we take notes about what it is, and we get all these data points together. And eventually then we map. These specialists that work in the computers make maps of this. There's always the lab and write-up, guys. If I go in the field, I got to do more writing.
Yeah.
this is just part of it. If you don't, then it hasn't been done. Nobody knows about it. And then like, I'm just out having fun. So,
Yeah.
so, you know, I'll probably spend the next 10 years mapping all of the east half of the state, one piece at a time. And, that'll get me through retirement, maybe get enough money to spend in addition to whatever's left of Social Security and
Wow. Yeah.
my savings. And so, probably better than teaching at the high school because I'd cuss too.
Especially the Catholic one.
Yeah, I'm just not. I don't mind teaching at a Catholic. I'm just afraid I'm going to say the F word too many.
I understand that.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm just curious because I guess the story that you have when you were 4, and just I imagine that finding the brachiopod and just being kind of in awe at that, so much in awe that you've carried this on until your retirement life. But is there anything now after spending 19 years educating, graduating in 2004 or 1994, and just kind of being a part of this
many years? 94. How old? My daughter's 24. She's born in 2001.
I think you started, if as far as I understand it, you started educating in 2007.
2007 here.
Here, yes.
Fort
Okay.
Wayne.
Nice.
So that's just here. Before then, I was teaching in Eastern Kentucky for a couple of years, and before then, I was teaching in Las Vegas.
Yeah, well,
And before then, I was teaching in Utah, but also working environmental quality, same as Indiana IDEM, but for
right. So do you find anything that is still just awe-inspiring to you when you're out in the field, when you're surveying land or mapping or educating or putting together your
cool
papers?
thing,
Is there something that just still blows your mind?
the cool thing, I've been so focused on the Ordovician, and I was very like detail oriented, like very serious stamp collecting with a magnifying glass kind of.
Yeah.
Just really focused in. Well, the mapping requires that move along. Let's go. We got to get this whole area done, right?
Right.
We're counting our work area in degrees of latitude and longitude. You know, more than one. So it's a pretty big area. It went all the way from Louisville to Seymour to the eastern end of a line that goes through Vernon.
Vernon.
You've never heard of that. That's a town in Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is a big chunk, right? And it's got some metropolitan areas and a lot of farmland, right? So it's also got a lot of different age rocks. So I had to learn the Devonian really well. So I'd spent years here learning the Silurian. And so every place you go, you learn more stuff. When I was in Vegas, I always went cheap. I didn't want to have to go to really rich people for money, and I didn't want to have to write a grant. Retrospect, the last few weeks of Revelations, I'm glad I didn't go to really rich.
You could have ended up in some weird places.
There's been some dinosaur paleontologists who are eating crow right now.
Are you
Yes,
kidding
they
me?
are. Yes, they are.
And so, like, I never really wanted to take a lot of money from people. I just want to do it. So I just do local work. So out of Vegas, I started going out every Friday and would look at the rocks in the Arrow Canyon Range off of a highway that goes north there. And I discovered that rocks that I thought were Ordovician were Cambrian eventually.
Okay.
So I moved a boundary 100 meters and discovered some of the oldest reefs
In that area? In
the
America?
world.
In the
In
world?
the world. Like some of them, like there's a whole set of reefs of this age that have now been found more in China, et cetera, et cetera.
You're redrawing the boundaries of what we thought we knew was underneath.
Yeah, I mean, so in the West, it's really easy. In the East, it's not so easy. In the West, the last person that looked at these was 1967. He had a bunch of students. He was distracted, and he was covering miles and miles of rock.
Is it because
I
of
just
plant
go and
life over
focus-
here?
Huh?
Is it because of the plant life over here that makes it more difficult for
Here,
those features to come to
here
the surface?
you've had geologists looking at the same rocks. Like I can go to an outcrop here and meet somebody I know about.
Yeah.
Down in Madison, there's a famous road cut that I work, and so we're mapping through Madison, Indiana. And one day I'm going back to Mom's house, and Mom died last semester, so it was lucky I was mapping down there, so I got to take night shift. Kind of hard on field work, but I did it anyway. And going back to Mom's house, I meet somebody who's sitting there on that outcrop working with some students. So I meet a new person. So, like, you look at one set of rocks in the East, and there's been 50 people look at it at least, right? 50.
You're not discovering anything new.
You have to work hard, right? And this is why the brachiopod meant looking hard where people had ignored it, right?
Yeah.
Here out in the West, you go out, you make a basic observation, and you're the first one to have made it.
Dang.
And so it's easier in some ways, similar to in 1980 something, I discovered the first Ordovician in that whole area, right, in a whole region, because I was looking, right? And nobody else had really gone through the land. Like there's vast amounts of land out there.
Oh, I bet.
And so in the West, you're much more likely. But I've seen things in the last few years that I just never looked at. And I'm kind of really happy to do that. And I just learned more stuff.
Have you embraced technology like LiDAR and all that to make more discoveries?
We are using LiDAR that is taken like by the United States Geological Survey, various sorts. So Indiana has some really good LiDAR now. And as you know, because you know Chuck, that's where you got that, right? So I have, I'm doing Clifty Falls right now, printing at 3D.
Oh, cool, yeah.
So there's Clifty Falls at 1 to, what is it? 1 to 2,400.
Okay.
Cool.
So 1 inch equals 200 feet. And it's covering the table back here. This is one of several tiles, and I'm running out of space on the table for the entire Clifty Falls Canyon.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, Clifty Falls is a state park down.
Yep. Beautiful.
So I'm using that. I'm getting familiar. I had to print it because kill.
Because you can now.
Because I can. And, it induced me to learn the stuff. So we have new tech. It used to be people would have to use, it was kind of harder to map back in the day. But now you could actually see the rocks sticking out on this very fine LiDAR.
Yeah.
Damn,
Under
LiDAR's
the trees.
just making everything just pop.
Yeah, just making it really easy.
Are you excited about that? Is that exciting?
Oh, I'm like the printer's running constantly.
Yeah.
The next is going to be like,
okay.
I don't know, McCormick's Creek or something like that. So
on the, I guess on the surface, if I will, Indiana just, to me, maybe somebody that's outside of the sphere, it's maybe not as geologically interesting as some of the things that we've backpacked through out in the West and the mountain ranges and things along those lines. But from somebody of your pedigree, can you just kind of, for our listeners from the Midwest, just explain a little bit about what you think makes this area, specifically Indiana, kind of geologically important or fun?
Well, are we talking all of Indiana? Are we talking Fort Wayne?
No. Well, I guess we could go with even southern Indiana if that's where you want to go.
Well, we could talk any Indiana.
Yeah, we'll talk the whole damn thing.
I mean, the whole problem.
We can talk about where I found
the question
these.
is just sick and wrong.
Is it?
It's just sick and wrong. It's just a sick and wrong question. What is that? Where'd
Yeah,
you
what
get
is
that?
That was found near Hamilton Lake.
Okay, now I got to look up where Hamilton Lake is.
You
It's
just
by
blew-
south of Bloomington.
Okay, that makes sense. That is a
Yeah.
big ass geode.
And
Geodes are there.
I found a few pieces of it. And it's
Yeah,
all.
the question is,
I had to
what
get the
was
mud out
it
of it.
before it was geodized?
I was wondering if it was some sort of like just a cluster of crinoids that got stuck together. But at first I thought it
possible.
was
Could be a
petrified
crinoid
wood.
stem.
But
So
yeah, I
the
found that
geodized
there.
crinoids get kind of inflated and way bigger than they were. It's a weird preservation. And that looks like a geodized something. What is it?
I thought it was some piece of a crinoid.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. I mean, crinoids are often geodized
Yeah.
and they expand a little bit.
Yeah, I
Um,
found that kind of stuff down there. I thought that was pretty.
You got all
Amazing.
kinds of things in Indiana. Again, like you've got the problem is there's just so much material. If you start in the Ordovician, it is the most easily fossiliferous. I think it's world famous. It is world famous for being extremely rich in fossils.
Okay.
So that you never want to take students to southeastern Indiana first.
Because it's just.
Because they'll
you're
be
eating
disappointed
dessert
with
before dinner.
they'll be spoiled, right?
Oh, okay.
So they won't like anything else you show them.
Okay.
Because every little rock you pick up,
It's something.
it's got fossils in it.
Huh.
I said, if you can't find a brachiopod here, there is something seriously wrong with you, kids.
Yeah, go home. Go
Right.
home.
You're getting
No, I'm not going to make any judgments.
That's brutal,
except
Patty.
there's something wrong with you, young man. That boy ain't right. Right? It's just like there's something wrong. So, so that's world famous.
right.
World famous. Then if you go up into the Silurian, all right, there's another really fossiliferous unit down south called the Waldron Shale that runs all the way to Nashville, Tennessee. It also has just beautiful fall out of the rock kind of fossils.
Like trilobites
fossil-
and stuff down there in the
It's got
shale?
trilobites. It's mostly like crinoids and weird stuff that's related to crinoids. These worlds are different. You know, when you go back before the dinosaurs, you're looking on the seafloor. I don't know how anybody could think that it looks like a modern seafloor because not a single thing looks like what you find in the modern, except
Yeah.
maybe pearl oysters, right?
Uh-huh.
They're there. But if you go up here in the Silurian, much of the rock sort of down in the Wabash Valley toward Huntington, etc., is Silurian. You go past Huntington, Hanging Rock is a famous one.
Yes, sir.
Hanging Rock is a reef.
I did not know that.
So Hanging Rock is a Silurian reef. On the
Wow.
way to Hanging Rock off of 24, I think you'll see a road cut with a big shoulder
Mhm.
where you can pull off. That road cut goes right through the middle of a Silurian reef.
Oh, wow.
All right. So on 24, I think between Huntington and LeGros or something like that, you will see on the right, going that way, not coming back, it's going to be on the left. You're going to go right through a reef. And if you look at it from the air, you can actually see a bullseye pattern in the soil where that reef is. And it cuts just almost to the center of that bullseye.
Make like a mound. Of
So it makes
layers.
a series of mounds that are surrounding each other.
Oh, they just
which
grow
makes the
on top of
bullseye
each
pattern.
other.
Yeah, and then got shaved off.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't wait the next time I'm going through there with somebody in my car and I can say,
Just
hey,
pull off where it looks
see
rockiest,
that's
and you
weird
can
reef
find
right there.
fossils.
That's awesome.
First time I was here, I walked to the very edge of it. We reached down and picked up a full assemblage of worm teeth, which is rare to do, right? Usually you see the worm teeth kind of scattered. They're little black claw-like things. And so I picked that up and I'm like, well, that's cool. It was cold AF. That day was awful cold. I send a picture of it to a guy in Sweden who studies these things, and he's like, next day he has the paper describing it. Finished. He said, fill out this locality stuff and et cetera. Like these guys who describe the same thing, same sorts of things over and over again, they have a form. and we had it published within no time at all. I take forever to publish things. I kind of envy this. But at any rate, so we've got coral reefs, and it was one of the first places where we figured out that they were reefs.
What?
And so it's
Earth?
a major discover area. It's the Wabash Reef was the one where somebody looked at it and go, the fuck? And this is along a railroad cut near Wabash. You know where the railroad goes through, and it goes through some hills, and there's some big cuts. Those are world famous.
That is unbelievable.
And we're sitting on reefs here. So I looked at the cores that were drilled to make the sewer system.
Uh-huh.
And they go through a lot of reef material.
Holy
like the most recently done sewer project.
Yeah, the
that
big
went on.
sewer system, the first
At Travis's neighborhood,
storm
Troy.
drainage.
Yeah.
So we just retrieved some of those cores for our overburgeoning core facility down in Bloomington.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think about that being kind of a side benefit of projects like that.
Oh, yeah. Side benefit is you learn about the geologic history of a place.
What can you find along the banks of the Maumee here?
You can
find some nice artifacts for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about artifacts. I mean, people.
Yeah, well, let's talk minerals.
Yeah, let's talk. No birds.
Yep, I'm out.
Hey, no birds.
No dinosaurs, because we're talking Indiana. There's
That's
not any
right.
rock. So the only way there could be dinosaurs in Indiana, which is an interesting problem.
I never heard this. Like there in this piece of land historically, it's not believed there were dinosaurs here.
No. You got it all wrong.
Okay, gotcha.
There's no rocks of the right age preserved that we could have dinosaurs.
That makes
Dinosaurs
sense.
surely lived here.
Okay, that makes more sense.
They walked all over here, but the dinosaurs from this region, we don't actually know much about. Because any of the rocks, the sediments that they would have fallen in and gotten buried in, they've been stripped off.
Oh.
If they were ever deposited.
Stripped off from what? From like what?
Just
stripped them off?
erosion.
Okay.
Right? It's just like this land's been high enough for long enough that it's not kept any younger sediments than the Pennsylvanian. So if you want dinosaurs, you gotta Pennsylvania, Permian's the big extinction before the dinosaurs. Then there's a Triassic, which doesn't mean three-tailed dinosaurs, but might as well from the sound. The Jurassic, which, Jurassic Park contained Cretaceous, the next stage dinosaurs mostly, hardly any Jurassic dinosaurs. And at the end of the Cretaceous, you got the picture of T-Rex looking in the sky and going, that can't be good.
Uh-oh.
And, boom. So the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous, the closest Cretaceous is maybe if you go down the Mississippi River, the Cretaceous Sea kind of lapped up onto the land there, and you can see a little Cretaceous as you go further down, like, I think around Tennessee. And there's a little Jurassic, I think, in the middle of Michigan. I think in some place you have to drill through like 400, you have to auger through 400 feet of loose sediment before you hit bedrock. That loose sediment is all mostly of glacial age. And underneath it, there might be something between the dinosaurs and the glaciers, right? Occasionally you might run into that. And sometimes in the holes in the bedrock, you'll see stuff that's just pre-glacial. We have one occurrence at Pipe Creek near Gas City, Indiana, of critters from before the glaciers. And the only other place where that age is preserved with fossils is in Tennessee.
Oh.
The Gray fossil site in Tennessee. And the only reason it's preserved is because there was a cave system that sort of collected these sediments and then protected them from getting scraped off by the glaciers. And at the top of this cave system, you can see the striations, the scratches made by glaciers going across.
Damn, that is
The
so
glaciers
fucking
just
cool.
shave everything off.
They form those just massive grooves. Just
Yeah,
right
well,
in stone.
Not as cool as Kelly's Island, but yes, thin striations on a flat surface, and you can see sort of chatter where stuff was dragged across. It's really quite impressive.
Yeah,
and after that, you have glacial sediments.
When we're talking these ages, I'm obviously a novice, but what are the what are we what age ranges are we talking about?
I have to look that up.
Oh, okay.
Now,
I'm just
so
curious.
for anybody who wants to know the age ranges, geologists
beyond our
usually just use
comprehension.
the names,
Right.
right? So I've been barking out names that people are probably not familiar with,
Yeah.
but I have to look up the actual ages.
Hey, that's
right?
okay. I don't want you to go outside of your comfort zone. I'm just curious. I mean, because I know
the
the history of this is
innocent.
This is
If you go to
crazy.
stratigraphy.org,
I mean, it's so old that it's beyond. We can't comprehend.
well.
yeah, it's incomprehensible from a like thinking about it kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you can throw out numbers. If you can talk about the deficit, you can talk about the age.
I tell you though, those cross-section drawings really help in geology.
Oh, absolutely. But if you go to stratigraphy.org, there's a chart, and the chart says like the top of the Ordovician is 443 million years old.
443 million.
443 million, right?
Phew,
So
you're right, I can't
we do a
comprehend that.
timeline. We do a timeline on, let's see, let's do the end of the dinosaurs. The beginning of the dinosaurs is 250 million or 252 million.
Okay.
And the end of the dinosaurs is 66 million.
Shoosh.
Now, what's interesting is Stegosaurus is down there in the Jurassic.
Right.
And think about, you had a question in here about smallness, right?
Right.
Stegosaurus is down in the, there you go, you got it. Stegosaurus is down in the Jurassic, and I can't remember which age in the Jurassic. Probably middle somewhere. And T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex, is about 66 is when that ended, right?
So at the bitter end.
And so like I put Stegosaurus around 165 or something like that. And so if you put, and don't quote me on that, I'm not a dinosaur person, and they'll go all reviewer 2 on me.
I can't wait to start using that.
And so reviewer 2 must die.
Mine's always I don't have the same decimal places across multiple charts. Gets me every time.
The best way of describing how long the dinosaurs had been here is it is more realistic to put a cell phone in T-Rex's hands than it is to put him next to Stegosaurus.
Wow.
So T-Rex is closer to our time than it is to Stegosaurus's time.
Yeah.
So this rock you're digging 480 feet below the...
No, it's 440 million years old. And then when we drill, we probably hit the Devonian here. So that's 358 million years old or so. So that's Mississippian you got down there. Go up to the next there you go. Stop there. Stop. There you go. So you got
Devonian.
upper, middle, lower Devonian. we might have some Franian, which would be 372 to 382. And then there's certainly down to the, I think, Eiffelian, maybe the Emsian. And then there's a gap. And then we get into maybe Wenlock or something like that in the Silurian. And then we'll hit the Ordovician. There's some Hernantian in Indiana. But mostly that's missing. So the other thing is that the geologic record is full of gaps no matter where you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So you think of that deposit I told you about in Pipe Creek in a sinkhole, right?
Yeah.
So below that is the Silurian. And, so the deposit is Oligocene. So that's all the way to the left. And I would go, actually, I think it's Miocene, Pliocene. So let's say it's 6 million years old, right?
Right.
And then the nearest rock underneath it is Silurian. I'm going to go with, it might be in the Gorstian or the Homerian. So it's 426 million years old.
Yeah, for the
And so you
listeners.
got 420 million years between the one deposit and the next deposit down.
Wow.
Damn.
It's wild.
And then on top of it is
How
the
thick are
latest.
those, say those different ages, them different periods
Well,
of time?
I mean, they're different thicknesses in different places, right?
Yeah.
So you go 200-foot deep quarry and you don't get into the Ordovician in Pipe Creek. It's all in the Silurian.
Wow.
And so it depends on where you're at, right? And if we could open up a Grand Canyon, there'd be at least a Grand Canyon's worth of rock below us
Yeah.
to look at.
Oh.
For the listener,
it's
if
not-
you go to stadiography.org,
Stratigraphy.
stratigraphy,
Stratigraphy.
yeah, it's
Don't
a
worry,
really
Chuck
cool
has a hard
chart.
time saying that word.
It's
too.
a really cool chart. You
It's
can
a really
follow
cool
along.
chart. And if you open it up on your cell phone, it's interactive to where you can stretch
Oh.
pieces out and stuff. So you can do that. And yes, if you click on it, it'll tell you shit. And
Yeah,
if
it
you
does.
put those, you see those little golden spikes?
Yeah.
So you can mark that. And that is, there's a way the spike just says it's been marked,
Oh, okay.
right? And there is literally some spike somewhere on an outcrop somewhere in the world for each of these.
Oh.
So wherever there's a spike. Now, if you look in the really old rock, the pink on the right, you can see its clocks, and the
Right.
numbers are really even. You see that? How even the numbers are.
Yeah.
They're all nice, round, even
Yeah.
numbers. The reason for that is we run out of fossils at the base of the Cambrian, which is in the base of the next column over. There's no more really easy fossils to find below the Toronto. Now you got
Turonivian?
me. Terranuevan Fortunian.
It's way off.
So below about 538 plus or minus 0.06.
I do love the plus or minuses because they
You
all
have
they
a
all
few
vary.
markers. You have a few events that you can mark. And so the Ediacaran, about 365, or 635, sorry, is marked with a spike. So that's actually a spot in the earth where they marked it. But the rest of them, they said, well, 1,000's a good number. And so if they date the rock there below that, then they just decide the date first, and then they figure out whether the rock falls in it or not, right? Whereas on the other side, with spikes, we know the rock is the age. We have to find the date from the rock. And this has developed over a period of 200 years or so. Since the
Wow.
early 1800s. More than 200 years.
When you
So-
study this, Doctor or Ben, when you study this, do you have a sense of like life feeling small, like we feel small, or do
well,
you
when you
look at
talk
this?
about what's happening with coyotes and bears and shit like that,
Humans.
and water issues, looking. So just example in the Ordovician, somewhere, and I work almost strictly in the Cadian right now. In Utah, it was in the Trinidad Ocean. When you work in just that interval, there is a period there where in this region of Indiana, especially southern Indiana, where you can see it, but across the region, brachiopods started moving in from elsewhere. There was some kind of environmental change. And so from the lower part of these rocks to the upper part of these rocks, this little Raffinaskina that I love so much just kind of disappears, or it gets inundated with other critters, right? And so these critters come in and out, and we're talking about we're looking at 10 million years max, right? Less than 10 million years time. The world is constantly changing with things going back and forth. And when I talk to ecology students about modern ecology and bears becoming dependent on food or whatnot, I have a slightly different philosophy of, I think of the fish in Florida, right?
Okay.
You think about all of the foreign fish that have been introduced to Florida by dumping aquariums. There's a YouTuber that goes out and fishes exotic fish out of sewers in Florida.
Wow.
Literally out of the sewers in Florida.
Does he eat them?
No, he keeps them, right? You don't have to go buy fish because every fish from everywhere in the world that lives in the tropics lives somewhere in the sewers of Florida.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
we went down to to a group of students down to the big swamp down there, the Everglades, right?
Mm-hmm.
We went to the Everglades Visitor Center, and I look in the water. That's Amazonian. That's Amazonian. That's African. That's, they're full of fish from somewhere else.
That's a python.
Yeah, and there's and every lizard I identify in Florida is from a pet.
Oh yeah.
It was a pet. And so the philosophy there that I start with is, you ain't doing shit about this. This is not changing. You are not going to be able to get rid of these because the entire ecosystem has been flooded by invaders, just as in the Ordovician, the entire ecosystem was flooded by invaders. And the overall diversity went way up because these things from other places came in and they didn't all go extinct, right? And so the perspective it gives me is, think about the species that have become dependent on humans over a long period of time that used to have wild ancestors, right? Dogs.
My top 5 favorite animals are all human bred animals.
Yeah.
Just because of their
dogs,
contribution to civilization.
We've extincted cattle in the wild, but we still have cattle, right? We don't call them aurochs or whatever, however you pronounce that anymore. And then there's all the ones that we don't like, right? Rats, mice, cockroaches. Where would these things be without us, right?
Yeah.
And then there's entire bird groups, right? You talk about bears not hibernating. What about geese that don't migrate?
Yeah.
Okay, I swore I wouldn't talk about damn birds or damn
Hell yeah.
dinosaurs.
It's amazing how that
But
goes.
All the urban
it's just
birds.
like eventually you end up on a damn bird. So the geese don't migrate anymore. We're creating a new species of geese, basically, right?
Right.
So thinking about this, there's a forward-looking kind of ecology. It's like the ecology of cities and the ecology of humans is something that we've created it. Once you move things around, it's there. Now, what are we going to do moving forward?
Yeah.
Rather than I do believe in conservation to a point, but freaking out about spilled milk at this point might not be our best way forward. How about engendering more biodiversity making
Right.
it better with what we've got, and preventing bullshit from moving into the country and eating everything, and
Yeah.
but we've always had animals moving around, whether by natural or human means. And so there's a philosophical stand that you take, is that this is the new, in 2 million years, what's the fish population of North American streams going to look like?
Right.
It's going to be freaky.
Yeah.
Right? We're going
Drastically
to have some
different.
freaky additions. We're
There
going to
could
have
be
a lot more variety.
Patrick's head swimming around on a fish.
Let's hope so. We just
that would be a bit too freaky for me.
we did an interview not that long ago with a gentleman named Matt Herbert from the Nature Conservancy, who's doing a lot of restoration work up in northern Michigan and all around Michigan, really, because the whitefish are already being decimated in Lake Michigan, or have been being decimated since the lumber industry. So he's
Does that
not
have to do
only
with
building
the mussels invasive?
Zebra mussels.
but
zebra mussels.
he was explaining quite a bit where he's building reef structures in the actual Lake Michigan off the coast, but then also going up the river to start building estuaries and habitat so the fish can start learning where they need to be upstream and then go downstream the way they historically do. But I'm just adding to your anecdote of this. You're entirely correct. The fish population in the streams could be 1,000% different than what we expect them to be now.
Exactly.
And just one more point to that. I was a history major, and I remember one of my professors at PFW said that like everybody was kind of panicking around the 9/11 era and later on, and it was kind of interesting when we were talking to him, and he was like, listen, you're living through history right now. Like it's better to document it and to be educated of what's going on right now, because in 40 years, 50 years, 100 years, this is the history. So I think that what you're saying is interesting. It's better to not really cry over the spilled milk as opposed to learn how that milk made it onto the ground and kind of rebuild from there, or understand from there.
And it's not my field, but there are people who are looking at urban ecology as new ecological systems, right? And we see new ecological systems all throughout the history of the earth. Like my life is spent in the Ordovician. Like I live there, right? My head is in there. There were no fishes.
Right. Yeah.
At all. There were no fishes. It was a long time ago. The nearest fishes were in Colorado.
Well, okay.
That I know of, right? And those fishes were living in a kind of freshwater system, as far as we can tell. In Indiana, it was a kind of a shallow marine. There's no environment like that.
Right.
Shallow marine for miles and miles and miles, where you could probably wade for 200 miles.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right? Where your boat had to have a flat bottom instead of a deep keel.
Yeah.
Right? Where
The water's
could
calmer, shallow and
possibly
calm.
a lot calmer, and we think maybe it got as much as 30 meters deep.
Okay.
Right? Which is reasonably deep, but it ain't deep.
Right.
It's not like ocean deep.
Right.
Because we got the entire continents that are covered by sea.
Right.
You got your entire and this has to do with times when the seafloor was higher, the continents were a little lower, and you just balance the water between the two. And that happens, the seafloor rises, the continents fall, the seafloor falls, the continents rise, and we have dry times and wet times on the continent. And the history of geology on the continents is when it was wet, and then when it's dry, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs are mostly a dry time, and so it's actually kind of rare to find dinosaurs because of it has to be next to a mountain or something where all the sediment's piling up real thick.
Right.
If you go out west, there were already mountains being built and sediments were depositing deeply.
Yeah. Damn. So I just like to lay into these questions just because I prepare them. Travis helped me on this round, but I just want to make sure we get to some of these because I'm just curious.
Lay in.
Yeah. But as professor and a professor for many, many years, I imagine that, like you kind of alluded to before, why do we have to learn about this sort of thing? What is something that you're
I was
just
trying to
like,
throw that in at some point.
what's the one?
Why do we have to learn
Why do we
What's the
have to do
practical
this?
use for this knowledge?
I've been that student before. Well, not necessarily the practical use, but from your side, what is something that you just kind of feel like you really hope to imprint upon your students?
Well, so most of the classes I teach in geology are just sort of your basic background classes now. We don't have a major anymore at the school, and the geology departments have been shut down numerous places. I won't even get into why I think that's happening because I get angry. But so if you're not training people to go into oil, to go into mining, and to manage groundwater, which is probably the biggest one nowadays, has been groundwater, to manage landslides or to predict landslides, right? That's what our mapping is doing, is either groundwater quality or landslides. There's all kinds of practical things, right? And also in Indiana, of course, it's where do we get our aggregates to build roads, which things are good for building roads, which things are crap rock for building roads, what can you make cement out of, what can you not make cement out of, where can you get water, what's the water quality going to be like, depending on which rock you're going through. Once we were mapping and some guy's real angry comes out of his house and looks at us, looks at the truck, Indiana Geological and Water Survey, and starts like, my water's poison, isn't it? And we're like, we're the geological side. We're not doing the water side, but we're looking at, and I was not prepared for this. I just how to deal with this, right? We're looking at this black rock in the south that they call slate, but it's a black shale. It's a very, very organic, rich, and pyritic. It has pyrite in it, iron sulfide in it, right? And had I to do it again, I said, does your water taste like shit? Because this rock will make your water taste like shit, right? Like literally, it'll put tons of sulfur into the water.
Yeah.
Any water that gets near what's called the New Albany Shale, and it's not smooth like that. It's layered material. Any water that goes through it, goes near it, it tastes like shit.
Ugh,
Just picking up the pyrite?
From the pyrite. The pyrite is just not good. So the more pyrite that's in the rock, the more your water is going to come out of the faucet in your well, hit the sink, rust out immediately, and smell like sulfur.
Yeah, gross.
Because the iron oxidizes immediately because there's no oxygen in that water. It oxidizes immediately on hitting oxygen, and then it releases sulfuric acid.
That's not
or
great.
Hydrogen sulfide, both of which are not great.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
One more for you. I have one more for you.
That was just the practical stuff. That's not what I want people to go home with.
Go ahead. Go ahead, doctor.
What I want them to go home with is a sense of geologic time.
Yes. Okay.
And so the sense is like we walk on the sidewalk and we measure 450 meters. That's the whole age of the earth. And we go, this is where the dinosaurs are. This is this is that. So if you do it at 10,000 years equals a millimeter, the edge of the earth fits in 450 meters, half a kilometer.
Wow.
Holy
The big
smokes.
sidewalk on campus.
Wow.
We start conveniently at the clock tower near the engineering building and go past the Mastodon and go into between the music building and the gym building, right?
Yeah.
And I take a dime, stick it in the crack in the sidewalk, and say, "This is recorded human history." Sideways, not across, not long ways, short ways through the dime. That's all of recorded human history. The pyramids fit in there real neatly. Like everything you've ever heard about in ancient history is in there, and a little bit of not recorded human history, right?
You want to feel insignificant. That's a good way to do it.
And that is a good way to feel pretty insignificant. And Mark Twain made a few jokes about that, right? He said, like, if the age of the earth is like the Eiffel Tower, then the age of man is like the skin of paint on the tippy top of the Eiffel Tower.
Wow.
And obviously, the tower was built to hold up that skin of paint.
You know,
Right.
I don't choose to look at that negatively. I don't think that drowns me
Is that
down.
about
I'm excited to be
the
here.
human ego?
This is personally where I'm at. Like, this is not a negative. You're part of something vast.
That's what I'm
It's much
screaming.
faster than you are. And you know what?
And how many times did it get close to us being here and completely start over?
Well, I mean, how many times? That's an interesting question, too, because somebody has solved, using geologic time and the fossil record, somebody's come up with an elegant solution
Oh, nice.
to the paradox of why we haven't met other civilizations from other planets.
Oh my God, that's a three-parter.
Here's the elegant solution. Think about all of geologic time. Despite some stories that have come out, I think they're bullshit. The Silurian hypothesis, you know, from not the Silurian period, but from the Silurian civilization,
Yeah.
which I don't even know what that is. If you look at all the geologic record, you can see that things got reset. There were mass extinctions over and over again. And there are many times for many groups to develop whatever. And we developed smart. Whales are smart.
Yep.
Elephants are smart. But there's only one civilization that's developed. And we can be pretty certain of this from the fossil record. So if in 4.5 billion years, right, we haven't developed multiple advanced civilizations, then they're rare.
Yeah.
It might have just been a chance. It might have been just like some random fluke thing that these monkeys come out of the trees and decide to
Have
build
ideas.
guns, make guns.
These monkeys got ideas.
Damn.
Yeah. This is the most elegant solution to the paradox that I've ever heard, because it's like takes facts. Well, we have a case study. We have several resets. We have several groups of vertebrates that develop. We have several other animals that develop. Of all the different animals that evolved, how many of them? Birds are smart, right? But how many of them had the combination of really smart and hands or something like this to manipulate the world? Because
Right.
that's part of it, right? It's not just being smart. Lord knows whales may have a deeper spiritual life than us. I don't know. It's not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Raccoons almost had it.
Raccoons, I mean, so like, and maybe in the future, but maybe if we disappear, it will never happen again.
Damn, that makes me feel more lucky. I'm sitting on the positive side of this. I feel like I'm here and I'm happy that we all four got smart enough with our hands and our brains to be able to sit and record this in one little blip moment of the Earth's history.
I do see
that's cool.
there. I watched a video about they were talking about crabs and how there are species of crabs that look very similar, but they evolved from completely different family trees just because that body type is
intelligent, civilized organisms. The closest we come is ants, which don't do it the way we do it at all. Crabs is one of those interesting things where you can say, Nature just wants to make a crab,
Yeah.
and it'll make it out of anything. So the other lesson in paleontology is crocodiles are not the real crocodiles. They aren't the first crocodiles.
Mm-hmm.
First crocodiles were the atosaurs, who lived in the Mesozoic with the dinosaurs, and they were better crocodiles than the modern crocodiles.
That's
Better,
scary.
like more
There you go.
evolved.
Well, they had nostrils up in the top of their heads, like
Yeah.
whales, right? So they're
Right.
better for water. And so there's this repeated evolution of things, of the same thing over and over and over again. And you could say that kangaroos are just deer. They just have a boing boing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their back
Right.
legs are just huge.
Right. And you also look in Australia, there was a kind of a wolf or dog thing. There was, and they're not related at all. At all. Not even in the least.
A
And
dingo.
so,
Is that one of them?
no, the dingo's a real dog.
Okay.
Talking about,
It's like a tiger or something, right?
yeah,
Tasmanian
Tasmanian
tiger.
devil,
Yeah.
Tasmanian
Tasmanian
tiger,
tiger. Yeah.
right? And we had an Australian lion that was a pouched animal, clearly not related to lions. In South America, we had a saber tooth that was a pouched animal,
Wow.
clearly not related to lions. We had something like a horse in South America before South America joined with North America.
Yeah.
It wasn't a horse at all, right?
Are possums and kangaroos even remotely related?
Yes.
Is it
Well,
both
so that's an
marsupials?
interesting story that I tell as well. It used to be South America was connected to Antarctica and Australia was connected to Antarctica. So between those three, marsupials rose. That's
Okay.
where they're from. South America broke off earlier. Then Australia broke off. Or Australia broke off. When those both broke off, then there's a circumpolar current that kills Antarctica. Basically isolates it and freezes it, right? The water just keeps going around and around and around, getting colder, colder, and colder. And that freezes Antarctica. Before then, it was a pretty thriving place. And so, the other thing is the world's a very different place from what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And which is another thing coming back to bears eating trash, whatever. Like, yeah. They'll go back and forth on this, right?
Yeah.
We lost an entire continent. Well, except penguins. Don't tell penguins I said that.
Right. And imagine you're
I don't
not
trust
even
penguins.
close to really knowing what's underneath all that ice.
Well,
Is it
not
just
well,
core samples,
we
or how do they
pecked
do that?
around the edges. We got all kinds of fossils from there.
Yeah.
Just pecking around the edges. And yeah, what's underneath the ice is like there's some remote sensing, there's some drilling.
Yeah.
We
Is there much-
roughly know where everything is, but we don't, it's hard to collect a dinosaur from right under the middle.
I imagine it's expensive.
I think so. I only know I know a
Gotta
few
get that
people that have
Epstein money
been
to
there.
get there.
I've never been there. I am not one of these adventurous guys, and I've never gone to Epstein to ask for
Yeah.
money.
Do you feel like we could benefit more from knowing more of our geology, of our paleontology? Is there a benefit in all of this?
I mean, there has been benefits in direct application to paleontology in the past. It's how we figured out the age of the Earth. It's how we still find oil to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
We've spent 200 years learning about the age of the Earth, etc. Paleontology at this point might be more of an interest, a human interest thing, and the question of benefit becomes a philosophical question.
All right.
Obviously, we eat first,
Yep.
but then we enjoy story time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, in my opinion, there's an enrichment that comes along with who we are in our time and what we are and what kind of beast we are. And if football's worth having, then paleontology is worth having.
Damn right. Yes,
It
sir.
entertains a ton of kids. Like, I don't know anybody doesn't like dinosaurs.
Oh,
Except
Yeah.
me. I don't really like dinosaurs because they're like birds. It's just too many people like them.
my family loved me over Christmas time because I took all the children to cut geodes or to crack geodes open, and they had the time of their life.
And children love this stuff, and it's kind of discovering about the planet you live on.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. If you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you can go, kind of a deal.
And then there's also like how bad it can get.
Right.
Right.
Right, an entire continent can be lost. Australia or Antarctica not only doesn't have bears, it doesn't have anything else. Don't tell the penguins that.
It makes you
And,
grateful for the stability we have right now.
And we live in time. That any moment there could be a rock coming in the sky, as T-Rex said. That can't be good.
Yeah.
And also that environmental problems can go really bad.
Yep.
So the greatest extinction before the dinosaurs might have had to do with warming and stagnation of the oceans. Because if you warm up the surface too much, you stop circulating,
Just
Yep.
kill
Okay.
the oxygen.
and that kills the oxygen.
That makes, yeah. I mean,
So what we do is we understand the Earth system from a point of view of a different Earth system. Because the continents have been in different places, the oceans have circulated differently. And so the important thing for us looking forward is to look backwards and see what can happen
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
sir.
how to deal with it. So
Yeah, and I guess I would add to that too is just throughout this conversation with you, and I guess the one question that I was most interested in asking is like, when I think of geology, when I think of anything along the lines of rock hounding like Travi does, I tend to think
Or
like
Travi.
yeah, I tend to think the Tetons, or I think out west where I can see these geological functions or features that are prominent in on the earth, and you drive up to this mountain and you're like, oh my gosh, in such awe. But one of the big kind of things we like about what we do at this podcast is really just encouraging people to get outside, to understand the environment around you, ask questions, do some research, things along those lines. And I think it's interesting, and I'm excited for this interview because now I can walk around outside and I can imagine what's underneath my feet, and it makes me excited to be outside. Like maybe I'll go start
maybe you
rock
got to go
hounding.
400 feet beneath your feet.
Sure.
But
That's right.
Immediately under your feet, we still have mastodons and stuff.
Well, and even going down to Hanging
Yeah.
Rock and Salamone and knowing now
Yeah,
what that is, it's a
absolutely.
reef structure. That's just another aspect of enjoying and understanding the things that are around us. It's a beautiful world that we live in. You just gotta talk to the right people, ask the right questions, and then open up your eyes and take a peek.
What is your opinion on the proper procurement of fossils and artifacts that you find in the environment?
But what do you mean by proper?
The
Don't get shot by the property
That's
owner.
what I'm looking for.
Number
That's
one.
good.
Like, generally, as a rule, you need to ask the property owner. Two, is if you're not on federal land, it's probably okay to collect. Federal land has its own rules, and each service that runs land has its own procedures. Forest Service has procedures. National Park Service has procedures, not a lot of those here. And state parks also have their rules. But most other land in Indiana, I would have to say that when it comes to elephants, for example, okay, don't be afraid if you dig up a mastodon. So
Really?
there's heavy equipment operators who just are scared to death of antiquities rules which apply to human stuff. And I am not even commenting on that. I don't know anything about it technically. I know something, but I'm not in a position to talk about
Will they have to shut down construction at that point?
So if you find it gets, I don't know, it gets bad. The rules are extremely strict on human remains and human artifacts, etc. But I don't even know how strict. I don't know what has to be done.
Yeah.
But if you're running into mastodon, what I tell people is give us a call. Give the State Museum a call. Nobody has the authority to stop you on private property if you run into a mastodon or a mammoth. Technically, you could keep it.
Damn.
That's the law. The law is you can have it. You can have yourself a tusk or whatever. If you wanted to stay together and somebody else to see it, you might bring in professionals. State Museum has that. I can get you hooked up. If it's going to stop your job, rather than rebury it and hide it, which happens all the time, right? Rather than rebury it and hide it, if that's the choice, if that much money's riding on this job getting done right now, scoop it up in as big a chunks as you can and put it off to the side. Call us, right? Because rather than hiding it away, maybe you've got something that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd rather have like broken pieces of it than nothing at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have approximately where it's from. It's better than an exact, precise dig. I get this, right? I've been working with this my whole life. I got like cost thousands and thousands of dollars a day for delays. And so, just scoop it up and put it to the side. And this is what happened in the quarry in Pipe Creek. Somebody knew what they were talking about. They wanted to hide it because they didn't know. They thought they'd just get in trouble, but these are pre-human, And so now we have preserved, kind of mangled, but preserved, just this incredible trove of fossils. It's going to take years to go through. And most of the time when we run into these fossils, the people who are doing it are so scared of the more draconian laws that don't apply to fossils here, not on federal land, that we lose data because of fear. And so that would be my biggest message to people digging, people who are just in that business.
Is there any open source, like your phone, you can download Merlin and they have any bird you can listen to and it'll record that location where it was heard and it'll add it to a database?
We don't have a database for fossils, I don't think. We have curated fossil guides that are online. But we don't have an identification or reporting system for fossils that's that public.
Do you think that would be something that would be useful?
Yeah, it might be. There's way more people that do birds.
Right.
We have a network of fossil clubs, and the fossil clubs is our principal training. Probably the premier club is the one in Cincinnati called the Dry Dredgers. Here, there's the Three Rivers Gem and Mineral Society, which, provides some training, and I'm always willing to help with somebody in that society who's trying to learn more fossils. And so I've worked with the Dry Dredgers all my life, all my adult life. And the Dry Dredgers, kind of recognize me. There's the Kentucky Paleontological Society. I go to speak for them. And on their Facebook, I'm group expert, and stuff like that.
I have some rocks to get cut by them. So I'm going to have
Three Rivers people, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go in there and maybe sign up.
I would go ahead and just contact them if you're a fossil collector and get engaged with them. They're not focused on fossils like the Dry Dredgers are.
Mm-hmm.
So there's other groups that are more fossil focused. So it's a different kind of ethic and a different kind of way of interacting with the world. But it's good.
Yeah.
So works.
Yeah, and it would help to have some knowledge about these cool things that I find.
And so the nice thing about the amateur clubs is that they will bring you up from kid to local expert, right?
Mhm.
So some of these amateur clubs, they have better experts than me in some things.
Yeah.
Damn. How could that be?
That's so
Well,
deep.
stamp collectors, you know, like if you get focused on one thing. There was a guy at who was specializing in worm teeth, and this expert in Sweden. This guy's in the dry dredgers, and he was always like, "No, I'm no good. I'm just an amateur." It's like, oh my God, you're better than everybody else except maybe him, right? You know. And if you're so afraid of being an amateur, just prepare what you got, give it to him, and he'll finish it.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? So these guys have like massive amounts of knowledge because it's their hobby, and they're not constantly answering questions like, why do I have to learn this?
Well, Dr. Dattilo, we are nearing into about an hour and a half recorded time, so we do want to kind of let you go here in a bit. Travi, do you have any other questions?
I had one more, and I kind of forgot how it goes, but I think it's how does a turtle breathe underwater?
What's that got to do with me?
I have no idea.
Through
That's
its
from
ass.
Chuck.
Through
Is
its
that from
ass, I
Chuck?
guess. Yes.
Through
Yeah.
its ass.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
So apparently I had this conversation with Chuck. I don't know. This is just one of those interesting things. They were saving people who had bad COVID lung problems by injecting highly oxygenated water as an enema kind of thing.
Huh.
Not water. It might have been another liquid. I don't know. But basically, like, I'm not the medicine person. And basically, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of blood vessels in your digestive system that are really close to the inner surface. That's the outer surface, really. Like the inside of your butt's the outside.
Yeah.
So the skin's really thin. There's a lot of capillaries in there, and that makes this big area for gas exchange. It can always be used for gas exchange, and just ask the party guys how you use it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know that your rapid drunk is from the same process. And so turtles breathing underwater, in part, just sort of like butt breathe.
That makes sense.
So it's just a
understand.
nature fact. I thought it was some kind of inside joke.
It is an inside joke, but it's also like a fact.
Done.
It's both.
Nice.
Two can be the same thing, Travi.
All right.
Yeah, you know, you can have a joke that's really a fact. And this is one, like butt breathing.
Well, on that
It's
note,
more of an
I think
insult.
it's a perfect way to go out.
There we go.
Dr. Dattilo, thank you very, very, very much for spending your evening with us. I have a lot to consider. I have a 10-year-old at home, and I am itching at the bits to get home and just lay down all this information. I think we might walk my street and be like, this is Earth's history right here. So
And good luck.
yeah. Thank you very much for spending your evening with us. Mucho apreciado for having a geologist, a paleontologist, and all of these other ontologists on. It was extremely informative. I understand why your students love you so damn much.
They said that?
Well, that's what the word around the block is. But
You don't go through and look at your internet
Don't
professor
let
reviews?
that part get out.
we will. But thank you very much, guys. I
Yes,
think it's
thank
time
you
to
very
get out
much.
of here. If you guys want to follow us, Busted Pretty at Blue Sky, Busted Knees and Pretty Trees on Instagram, or our website, bustedpretty.com. Leave us a note, leave us a message. You'll see some more information about Dr. Dattilo on there. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you all for listening. Thanks a lot, Dr. Dattilo, and keep on sponsoring.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.